Hello, hello, folks. This is Kenny with Just the Right Angle, doing a live stream of important events that are coming up. I'm titling this very simple, and that is to vote no on the RPA rule change. The Republican Party of Arkansas is going to have a state convention June 8th. And in that convention, they will be able to make various changes to how their organization operates. And sadly, better for worse, what we're dealing with here is an attempt to hijack the Republican Party once again for the powers that be. Now, this is an article by Conduit for Action. I'll read part of it. On May 18th, 2024, the State Committee of the Arkansas Republican Party will consider a proposed rule change to diminish the ability of the Arkansas Republican State Convention to adopt rule changes and platform resolutions. Why is this issue important to the Republican faithful in Arkansas? And by the way, why it's important to we the people in general? It's important because the state convention is the organization most closely representing the Republican grassroots, the county committees, the people that actually want to get rid of things like pedophilia material in the libraries, stop the funding to the PBS affiliate AETN, stop funding from going to bike paths and walk trails. You know, these things that it's taken a long time to get rid of or still haven't gotten rid of in this Republican supermajority state. For those who don't know, Arkansas is a Republican supermajority. We have more than over 3/4 of the legislative branch, I mean the Arkansas House and the Arkansas Senate, that are supposed to be Republican. And of course, we have all the constitutional offices. There is absolutely no reason why $17 million should be going to a leftist public broadcast system. There is absolutely no reason why things like critical race theory should be allowed to continue in our Arkansas education system, a lot of which are especially the college system, really needs to have its funding cut. And there's absolutely no reason why a creepy, shadowy organization can set up crypto mining facilities for communist China. And yet that's happened. And why? Because there seems to be within the Republican Party a bunch of Ronna McDaniel types who have infested this organization that a lot of people have dedicated, years, decades to, with time and money, and yet have been lied to by the consultant class. Now, we've seen this on a national level. I've talked about this before. On a national level, some great things have been done. The incompetent Ronna McDaniel was removed. I'm going to show this group because they're an organization right now fighting for freedom. That's the Nebraska Freedom Coalition. And here's their Twitter page. And they have been fighting. They recently kicked their GOP establishment folks out. And right now they're trying to replace this Don Bacon guy with this guy, Fry for Nebraska. It's either Free or Fry. I don't know his pronunciation. It doesn't matter. If you're in Nebraska, vote for this guy for Congress. I don't know when their election is. Matter of fact, here, I'll play some of his video just for fun. If my computer will not freeze on me.
I'm Dan Fry. I'm running for Congress. While my opponent has been in D.C. for about the last decade, ignoring the southern border crisis, racking up $34 trillion in debt, I've been right here in the state with my family, standing up for Nebraska values. In January, when I'm in D.C. as your representative, I'll continue to do the same. Friends, this congressional race is not about myself. It's not about my opponent. This is about saving the country and protecting every Nebraskan. It's become clear now more than ever that our congressmen and our senators have forgotten who they represent and who they work for. They work for us, not the other way around. I promise you this, when I am in D.C., I will never forget that I represent the people of Nebraska in their best interest. As your congressman, I will work tirelessly to end the endless wars, secure the borders, and protect the middle class from the reckless spending in Washington, D.C. I will approach every vote with the common sense and the values of Nebraska. A great man doesn't seek to lead, he's called to it, and he answers that call. Have we lost all hope? Absolutely not. If that were the case, I wouldn't have chosen to run for Congress. Friends, we've got an opportunity to right this ship. I'm not ready to lay down, roll over, and give up. And you shouldn't be either. Join me on May 14th as together we secure the future for our kids, our grandkids, and all those coming behind us. I'm Dan Fry, and I approve this message.
So, anyway, you get guys like that. Those are the kind of people that we need in our legislature on a federal level. But in order to get to that level, you've got to kick out the Ronna McDaniels that have infested your state GOP, your state Republican Party. Now, there may be some places where there might be a third party, Libertarian or Constitution Party in Arkansas. It doesn't work there. Those organizations are not going to be effective in terms of stopping the globalist agenda to tear down the United States of America. That is happening all across the world. Europe has basically fallen. Their government is literally letting in terrorists who are attacking their citizens. They are literally kicking people out of their homes and replacing them with illegal aliens who are allowed to commit multiple crimes, violent crimes, often against even women and children. And of course, most of those Europeans are disarmed, so they can't defend themselves against, and they're literally allowing an invasion. And all these socialist utopias like Sweden, yeah, the invasion's happening there too. There's mass human trafficking of children. There's massive acts of violence. Their entire civilized structure is about to collapse. There's already cities where you're not allowed to go if you're a Jew or a woman. In almost all a lot of the major European cities, London, Paris, you literally cannot go unless you bow down to the satanic pedophile death cult known as Islam. And that's just a reality that their leaders have allowed there and is starting to allow here. There's parts that you hear about New York or Chicago. There's some places where that's already happening here. And they are, again, literally kicking U.S. citizens and legal immigrants out of hotels, out of homeless shelters, schools, and replacing them with the illegal aliens. And these uppity government officials, they just simply want to replace you with them. They're already stealing money from your wallet and from your kids' wallets to give to them. So they're just now taking the next step. And their form of compassion is at your expense. And by the way, we do have sanctuary cities here in Arkansas. We have a bill that was passed to ban sanctuary cities or to cut the funding for them, but it's not really enforced. Little Rock and North Little Rock both give IDs to illegals. They don't declare themselves openly as sanctuary cities like New York or Chicago, but they are in fact de facto sanctuary cities. Again, our enemies of freedom rarely are open about what they do. And that's the part of the problem we have here. Is this rule change that to sabotage the Arkansas State Convention where grassroots conservatives can make changes was done behind closed doors. It was supposedly proposed by June Matheny of Pulaski County, but even Pulaski County was one of the first counties to say, we don't want these rule changes. Um, and here I'll skip down to this section. The only reason for left for the rule change is a disrespect for the delegates of the state convention, a disrespect by insiders who don't trust delegates. It'll make it harder for those delegates to have an impact on party policy. Probably the biggest party policy, and I don't know if this article, others will mention that, is what's known as closed or open primaries. In primary elections, usually it's supposed to be the person who chooses, the organization chooses a nominee to be in the general election. We just had primaries, presidential primaries not too long ago, where Trump overwhelmingly won enough states that he's going to get delegates for the national convention to be the Republican nominee. However, in some states, Democrats are allowed to cross over. And because of that, especially in states where their vote really doesn't matter, like Arkansas, they can then help elect someone that they can either easily beat in the general election or somebody that is less conservative. And so because of that, they have sabotaged many elections, along with the help of other things such as voting machines that are most likely rigged in the favor of Democrats, or in some cases, what we call Republicans in name only, known as rhinos. During the election of Connon Reynolds versus French Hill, the incumbent and establishment candidate French Hill was able to get several thousand votes extra evilly than what he was predicted to get in almost every, I believe, either county or precinct. And it was like an exact amount. Colonel Connon Reynolds of the group Arkansas Voter Integrity Initiative will have more details about that, where he talks about this type of issue and why these electronic voting machines need to be removed. And that is another possible rule change that can be dealt with. Another rule change was a possibility of requiring someone to be a Republican in order to vote in an election, in order to run as a Republican candidate, I'm sorry. And you would think that'd be pretty easy. It's like, hey, if you want to be run as a Republican in the election, you need to at least be a registered Republican. That was voted down. And here, I'll play the actual vote of what happened in the summer committee meeting. For those who don't know, by the way, the summer committee meeting is made up of your county GOP chair. They have a person known as a committee man and a committee woman, and then any elected officials. They're automatically made members. The state convention is, however, chosen. Each county chooses their own delegates. And by the way, you need to know these type of processes if you want to try to fix this nation, at least politically. So I'm going to play here this video of the summer committee meeting regarding the closing of primaries, which would likely pass in this upcoming convention because enough Republicans are starting to realize that the only reason to have open primaries is to keep rhino consulted class incumbent types in office. So let me play this right here real quick.
Favor of this rules change to create a closed primary in the Republican primary to stand up, and we will count each ourselves as we go down. My counting committee, Eddie, Jonathan, if you can, the district chairs, Jennifer, you can get up and help us make sure we got everything right.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have left, so I don't know if they're going to count by the quorum.
All right, they're going to count off. Let's start over here.
The quorum or the number.
Wayne, you're first.
Right there.
Just say one. Next one. The motion was to approve the rules change as presented. The rules change, to summarize it, is to create a closed primary in Arkansas and a Republican primary.
So Joe Maynard is up there. So these are people standing.
Everybody who's in favor of the rules change, please stand up. Starting with Wayne, one. No. We're going to stay on this side. 10.
So anyway, it doesn't get enough votes to pass at this time. And I don't know if it's going to get enough votes, but it should get enough votes at the state convention. So what, again, the people that are trying to sabotage the state convention are now doing is simply saying, well, now you need 2/3. And the way things are going, it may be possible to pass even with 2/3, but it makes it a lot more difficult. And again, the whole purpose of the rule change May 18th is to make it harder for the state convention to do things. And I also have another personal vendetta about this. Organizations generally can't change rules for other organizations. The Arkansas House, for instance, can't just change the rules for requiring a 3/4 vote majority in order to pass things in the Arkansas Senate, and vice versa. So I would question why the state committee meeting is able to make changes to the Arkansas Republican Party state convention, why they even have the ability to do that. But I honestly don't know. I think it's something to be questioned. But in any event, contact especially your state legislators who will be at this event, your elected officials. I know that Bruce Westerman was someone who was leaning toward voting against this. French Hill, when asked about this in another radio program, said he wasn't sure about that, which I would think he would be. But yeah, contact their offices, contact your legislative officials, just like you do in a bill, and tell them to vote no on the rule change regarding the 2/3 vote for, threshold for the state convention. That's really about it. I actually do have some other work to do. You can follow me at Just the Right Angle on Rumble and Podbean, YouTube, Keep Arkansas Legal, and of course on Facebook. Other than that, you all have a great day.